The bank employee placed 11 highlighted lines on the desk and turned the paper toward me. Every one of them was dated on a Thursday.
Do you recognize Greenway Market, Mrs. Warren?
I knew the store. I just hadn't shopped there in almost 3 years.
The amounts were never large enough to frighten me by themselves. $73, $81, $94 and some change.
They happen at nearly the same time each week, usually between 10:30 and noon.
That was when my hands went cold. Every Thursday morning, I volunteered in the basement pantry at Street. Luke's.
My card stays in my wallet, and my wallet stays in my purse, right beside me.
These appear to be online pickup orders. The card number may have been stored in an account.
He asked whether I wanted the card frozen. I said yes before he finished the question, though my voice sounded like somebody else's.
We can open a fraud claim today. You may also want to file a police report.
Not yet. I need to think before I put anybody's name on a piece of paper.
Caleb did not ask whose name I had in mind. Maybe he could see from my face that I already had one. I folded the printout twice and slid it into my purse beneath a prescription envelope. The paper felt heavier than it should have. Outside, my old sedan had been warming in the sun. I sat behind the wheel without turning the key. There were only 3 people who had ever helped me order groceries online: my daughter Rachel, my late husband, and Marge. Rachel lived 40 minutes away and treated my financial accounts like they were hot stove burners. She would not touch them without asking twice. Frank had been gone 4 years. That left Marge, and I hated myself for arriving at her name so quickly. Marge and I had met when our boys were in 2nd grade. We had survived layoffs, surgeries, funerals, and one terrible church choir director. She knew where I kept the spare key. She knew I slept with the hallway light on after Frank died. And 14 months earlier, after I sprained my ankle, she had sat at my kitchen table and ordered a week's worth of food for me.
Just save the card in there. I don't want to read those tiny numbers again.
I remembered saying it. I remembered Marge laughing and telling me computers were invented to punish women our age. At home, I laid the bank pages beside my cold coffee. The Thursday dates formed a neat column down the table. The first charge had appeared 10 months earlier. The most recent one had gone through 6 days ago. I checked my paper statements and found smaller charges I had overlooked. A gallon of milk could disappear easily between the electric bill and pharmacy copay. Together, the purchases came to $896.42, nearly 1 full month of my Social Security check. I picked up the phone, set it down, and wiped a clean spot on the table that was already clean. When I finally called Marge, she answered on the 2nd ring with the same cheerful voice she had used for 32 years.
Ellie, I was just thinking about you. Did you remember to pick up your blood pressure pills?
Marge, have you used my credit card at Greenway Market?
The line went silent. Not dead silent. I could hear a television and the faint scrape of something being moved across a counter.
Why would I use your card?
That wasn't my question.
No, I haven't used it. Maybe the bank mixed something up.
She answered too quickly after taking too long. That small contradiction hurt more than the number on the statement.
The card was saved on your grocery account after my ankle injury. Do you remember that?
That was over a year ago. I deleted it.
I had not asked whether she deleted it. I had only asked whether she remembered.
Daniel sometimes uses my account. Maybe he clicked the wrong card without knowing.
For 10 months?
I don't know, Ellie. You're making it sound like I robbed your house.
There it was. Not an answer, but a complaint about the way I had asked.
The bank froze the card. I haven't filed a report yet.
Marge stopped breathing for a moment. I heard it because I had spent half my life listening to her breathe between sentences.
You would call the police over groceries?
I would call the police over somebody taking money without asking.
She said she had to check on something and hung up. She did not say goodbye. Rachel arrived that evening carrying soup, a legal pad, and the expression she used when she believed I was being too forgiving.
Mom, this is not a misunderstanding. 11 separate purchases don't happen by accident.
There may be more to it.
There is always more to it when somebody you love is the one who did it.
She opened my laptop and changed passwords while the soup cooled between us. I watched her fingers move faster than my thoughts.
Did Marge ever have your card in her hand after the grocery order?
She has picked up prescriptions for me. She has paid my water bill online when I was sick.
That means she had access. It does not mean she had permission forever.
Rachel circled every Thursday charge in red. Beside each one, she wrote the time and amount in careful block letters. 1 week was missing in January. That was the week Marge had gone to stay with her sister after a fall.
That matters.
It could still be Daniel.
Then Marge should be helping you find out, not making you feel guilty for asking.
I looked at the empty chair where Marge usually sat on Sunday afternoons. Her reading glasses were still in the drawer beside it. She had left them there months earlier and told me my house was practically her second home.
I don't want 32 years reduced to a fraud form.
Then give her one chance to tell the truth. 1.
The next morning, I drove to Marge's house without calling. Daniel's rusted pickup blocked half the driveway. A broken plastic scooter lay near the porch. Through the front window, I saw a child's winter coat hanging from a dining chair. Daniel had moved back in after losing his warehouse job. Marge had said it would only be for a few weeks.
Mom's resting. You should have called.
I need to speak with her about my credit card.
She already told you she didn't use it.
He knew what the call had been about. Marge had spoken to him before she had called me back, though she never did call back.
Did you place grocery orders using her account?
I don't know anything about her accounts, and we don't need people coming over here accusing us.
Behind him, Noah appeared in the hallway, holding an empty cereal bowl. He looked thinner than I remembered.
Grandma said we're going shopping tomorrow.
Tomorrow was Thursday. Daniel turned and told him to go back to his room. Marge came to the doorway in slippers and an old blue robe. She looked tired, but not surprised to see me.
You shouldn't have driven over when you're upset.
I am upset because you won't answer me.
Not in front of Noah.
I glanced past her at the kitchen. Store-brand cereal, canned soup, and a large bag of rice covered the counter. Nothing looked expensive. That did not make it mine to give.
I will give you until tomorrow evening. After that, I file the claim.
Ellie, please don't make a decision while Rachel is filling your head.
That was when I stopped feeling sorry for her. She had turned my own daughter into the problem because the truth was harder to face. On the way home, I called the store from the parking lot of a closed pharmacy. My hands shook against the steering wheel. A customer service supervisor could not tell me who placed the orders, but she confirmed they came from the same online account.
Can you tell me the last 4 digits of the phone number?
The supervisor read the digits slowly. I knew them before she finished. They belonged to Marge's old cell phone, the one with the cracked corner and oversized number buttons. The supervisor also told me the pickup name had changed twice. First Marge, later Daniel. For a few minutes I sat in the car and watched people carry prescription bags across the lot. Everyone seemed to know where they were going. I had proof now, but proof did not feel clean. It felt like finding mold behind a family photograph. At home, a grocery bag hung from my back doorknob. Inside were apples, oatmeal, and the tea Marge always bought for me. There was no note. The receipt had been removed. I carried the bag inside, but left everything on the counter. I could not decide whether it was an apology or another way to avoid one. That evening, Rachel called and asked whether Marge had confessed. I told her the store had confirmed Marge's phone number.
Then you have your answer.
I have evidence. I still don't have an answer.
I remembered Marge sitting beside me after Frank's funeral, holding my paper cup of coffee because my hands would not stop shaking. People do not become strangers all at once. Sometimes they remain familiar while one small truth changes the shape of every memory. Thursday morning, I worked at the church pantry as usual. I stacked canned beans and tried not to watch the clock. At 10:40, my old card would have been used if Caleb had not frozen it. I pictured somebody standing at a pickup counter with an empty trunk. Just before noon, Marge walked into the church basement. She carried no purse and kept both hands in the pockets of her coat.
Can we talk somewhere private?
We went outside beside the delivery entrance. The metal door shut behind us, cutting off the sound of folding boxes.
The store gave me the phone number attached to the orders.
They weren't supposed to give you that.
She realized what she had said and looked toward the parking lot. Her mouth tightened as if she could pull the words back inside.
Tell me the truth before I hear it from a bank investigator.
Daniel has had a hard year.
I didn't ask about Daniel.
Marge stared down at her slippers, wet around the edges from the melting snow. She had come without changing them?
I used it once. At first, Ellie, I swear it was only once.
I did not ask what she meant by at first. I already knew that whatever came next would be larger than groceries. Marge kept staring at her wet slippers. Snowmelt ran from one sole and darkened the concrete between us.
What did you buy the first time?
Milk, bread, eggs, and those frozen chicken pieces Noah likes. Daniel's last check had gone to the electric bill.
She said it like the contents of the bag could decide whether taking my money had been wrong.
Why didn't you call me?
'Cause you would have said yes, and I couldn't stand hearing you say yes.
So you decided stealing from me would feel better?
I decided I would replace it before you ever knew.
A delivery truck backed toward the church door, beeping steadily. Neither of us moved out of its way until the driver waved.
There were 11 orders, Marge. When did one time become 11?
The second week, Daniel still didn't have work. Then the truck needed a battery, and he couldn't get to interviews without it.
My card didn't buy a truck battery.
No, my savings bought that. Your card bought food after my savings were gone.
She rubbed her thumb against the seam of her coat pocket. It was the same nervous habit she had before Frank's funeral.
Why Thursdays?
Because you were here. You never looked at your phone while you were working downstairs.
That answer settled deeper than the others. She had not merely known my routine, she had used it.
You knew I wouldn't see the alerts until afternoon.
At first, I was afraid the store might send you something. Later, Thursday just became the day we ordered.
We?
Daniel helped with the computer sometimes.
The store said his name was on the pickups.
He didn't know at first. I told him you had offered to help us.
The church door opened behind us, and warm air carrying the smell of coffee and cardboard rolled across my back.
When did Daniel learn I had never offered?
A few weeks later, he saw your name on the payment screen and asked why you were paying.
And after he knew?
He said we would pay you back when he got steady work. He said canceling the orders wouldn't put the money back in your account.
I pictured Daniel speaking in that reasonable tone people use when they have already spent what belongs to someone else.
Did he place any orders himself?
Yes, the last 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly.
You remember, you just don't want to say it out loud.
Marge closed her eyes. For a moment she looked older than 70, bent under something heavier than the grocery debt.
He placed 5. I placed 6.
Did he add things you didn't approve?
Once he added steaks, I removed them. Another time he added energy drinks, and I made him pay cash for those.
You were managing the theft like a household budget.
I was trying to keep it from getting worse.
You kept it going.
Someone inside laughed at something I could not hear. The ordinary sound made the space between us feel even colder.
I can give you $200 today. I have some cash in the house.
I don't want money pulled from your rent envelope. I want the truth written down.
Written down for who?
For me, and maybe for the bank.
If the bank goes after Daniel, he could lose Noah.
Then Daniel should have thought about Noah before he used my name.
Marge looked at me as if I had become cruel in the space of one morning. Maybe that was easier than seeing what she had asked me to carry.
Bring me every receipt, every order email, and every dollar you can account for by tomorrow.
I went back inside before she answered. My hands were shaking so badly that I dropped a can of peaches on the basement floor. The dented can rolled beneath a folding table. I crouched to reach it and stayed there longer than I needed to. All morning, I handed groceries to people who had filled out forms asking for help. None of them had taken my wallet first. At closing, I packed a box for Marge's household without putting her name on it. Rice, soup, peanut butter, cereal, and canned fruit. I carried it to my car, then stopped. Giving food freely was not the same as pretending the card had been theirs. I brought the box back downstairs and placed it with the other deliveries. For once, I let the system decide who received it. That afternoon, I returned to the bank. Caleb invited me into the same small office and closed the door.
Have you learned anything that changes how you want to proceed?
My friend admitted placing 6 orders. Her son placed 5 after he knew the card was mine.
Did you authorize any of those purchases?
No, I might have helped if they had asked, but they didn't ask.
Then the answer on the form is no. What you might have done is not the same as what you permitted.
He slid an affidavit across the desk. The empty signature lines seemed to divide my old life from whatever came after it.
Does signing this mean someone gets arrested?
It starts the bank's investigation. A criminal report is a separate decision, though the bank may contact the merchant and account holder.
I took the affidavit home unsigned. Caleb gave me until Monday before the disputed charges would move into the next review period. Rachel was waiting in my kitchen when I arrived. She had brought a folder and 2 fresh pens, as if paperwork could keep anger orderly.
You didn't sign it.
I brought it home to read.
You managed a school cafeteria for 27 years. You know what unauthorized means.
I also know what happens when one bad decision follows a family for years.
Their decision is already following you. You're paying interest on it.
I opened the refrigerator and stared at a carton of eggs I did not need. It was easier than meeting my daughter's eyes.
Are you protecting Marge? Or are you protecting the memory of who you thought she was?
I closed the refrigerator without taking anything out. The motor started humming behind me. The next morning, an envelope appeared beneath my storm door. Marge had written my name in the careful cursive she used on birthday cards. Inside were $120, 7 printed receipts, and 3 pages torn from a yellow legal pad. Marge had listed every order she remembered, what she believed it contained, and which person picked it up. Beside the first purchase, she had written, "I told myself this was borrowing." Beside the 5th, she had written nothing. Her total came to $763. The bank statement said $896.42. $133.42 had disappeared between her memory and my account. I called Marge. She answered with a whisper, as though someone in the house was sleeping or listening.
Your numbers don't match mine.
I gave you everything I found.
Then Daniel has receipts you haven't seen.
He says he doesn't.
I am coming over. I want both of you at the table.
Ellie, he is already angry.
So am I.
I put the cash back into the envelope. I did not want one repayment accepted before I understood what I was being repaid for. Rachel offered to come with me. I told her no, though I wrote Marge's address on a note and left it beside the phone. Daniel was seated at the kitchen table when I arrived. His work boots were unlaced, and an employment application lay open beside him.
You got your card canceled. What else do you want?
I want the missing receipts and an honest total.
Mom told you we were going to pay it back.
Your mother told you I had offered to help. Then you learned she lied, and you kept ordering.
By then, we were already behind. You had room on the card, and it was food, not a television.
Marge stood at the sink with both hands pressed against the counter. She did not tell him to stop?
You looked at my available credit and decided I had room for you.
I decided my kid needed dinner.
And you decided I did not deserve a choice.
Noah appeared near the hallway, still wearing his school backpack. Marge quietly pointed him toward the living room.
Is this about the grocery lady calling Dad?
Go watch television, Noah.
She said somebody signed the wrong name.
The room became still. Even the refrigerator motor seemed to stop beneath Noah's words.
What name did you sign?
It was one pickup. They asked who authorized the card, and I wrote the name on the account.
You signed Eleanor Warren.
Daniel looked toward his mother. Marge lowered her eyes, and I understood that this was not the first time she had heard it. Daniel looked toward his mother, waiting for her to rescue him. Marge kept her eyes on the dish towel hanging from the oven handle.
How long have you known he signed my name?
Since the day it happened. He told me when he came home because the clerk had questioned him.
She asked for the cardholder's name. I wrote the name that was on the order.
You did not write the name on the order. You wrote my signature.
Nobody checked identification. They handed me the bags and moved on.
I told him never to do it again.
And the following Thursday, another order went through.
She started this. She told me you never looked closely at your statements and that she would fix it before you noticed.
I did not say it like that.
You said Ellie had room on the card and wouldn't miss grocery money for a few weeks.
Marge flinched before she could hide it. I knew then that Daniel had repeated her words closely enough.
I thought I could replace some money after my tax refund. I did not think it would go on this long.
I did not invent the card, Mom. You gave me the login and told me what day to order.
Stop handing the blame back and forth. Both of you knew before the last 5 orders. Open the grocery account. I want to see every order, every fee, and every name used at pickup.
Daniel reached for his phone but did not unlock it. His thumb rested over the dark screen while Marge stood motionless at the sink.
You have the bank statement. Why do you need to go through my phone?
Because your mother gave me 7 receipts and more than $100 is still missing.
Daniel, open it.
He dropped the phone onto the table hard enough to rattle Noah's empty cereal bowl. Then he entered the password without looking at me. The missing amount was not another bag of food. $99 had purchased an annual pickup membership in my name.
It lowered the service fees. We were spending less that way.
There should never have been a long run to save money on.
The rest was made up of tips, substitutions, and small service charges Marge had not included in her handwritten list. I photographed every screen with my old phone. Daniel watched as if I were taking pictures of something private that belonged to him.
Is Grandma going to jail?
He had returned to the doorway without any of us noticing. One backpack strap had slipped down his arm.
This is an adult problem, Noah. You did nothing wrong, and none of this belongs on your shoulder.
Do not talk to my son like you get to decide what happens to us.
Daniel, that is enough. Take Noah into the living room and lower your voice.
Daniel stared at her. I wondered how long it had been since Marge had told her son no and allowed the word to remain standing.
Tomorrow at 2, both of you will meet me at the bank. You will bring identification and the complete order history.
I cannot repay $900 tomorrow.
I did not say you had to. I said you had to appear and tell the truth.
And if we do,
Then I decide what happens next, with all the facts in front of me. If you do not come, I sign the fraud claim without you.
Marge nodded once. Daniel folded his arms and looked away, but he did not say he would stay home. I placed her envelope on the table with the cash still inside. Accepting it in that kitchen felt too much like agreeing to keep everything quiet. When I stepped onto the porch, Noah was watching through the window. I lifted one hand, but he did not lift his. Rachel was at my kitchen table when I got home. The legal pad was open, and the unsigned affidavit waited beside my reading glasses.
Did he admit signing your name?
He admitted it. Marge knew. And they ordered again after that.
Then please stop calling this groceries as though the kind of store changes what they did.
I am not protecting Daniel. I am trying not to make Noah pay for his father's choices.
Holding Daniel responsible is not the same as hurting Noah. Marge has been confusing those things for years.
I knew something about that confusion. I had paid Rachel's rent once when she was young, then resented her for needing what I had offered.
Sometimes helping people makes you feel important. You keep doing it until neither person remembers where the boundary was.
You gave Marge access because you trusted her. That was careless, but it was not permission to take from you.
I signed the section confirming that the purchases were unauthorized. I left the reimbursement request blank until the meeting. Marge was already sitting in Caleb's office when Rachel and I arrived. Her purse rested upright between her shoes. Daniel came 7 minutes late. He wore a clean shirt, but the collar was folded beneath itself on one side.
Mrs. Warren has stated that she did not authorize these transactions. Today is an opportunity to document what occurred.
Are the police waiting outside, or is that supposed to happen later?
The bank records facts and secures the account. A police report is a separate matter, although the merchant may review the signature.
Caleb placed 2 written statements on the desk. Each one described the orders, the stored card, and the use of my name.
I will sign mine.
This says, I knowingly used the card without permission. I thought Mom had permission when this started.
It also says you continued after learning she did not.
I want it changed to mistakenly used.
No, Daniel. We did not make the same mistake 11 times.
So now you are giving me up to save yourself?
No. I spent 10 months making your fear somebody else's bill. I am not doing that one more day.
Daniel stared at his mother, then signed. His handwriting pressed so deeply into the paper that the pen tore near the final letter.
Mrs. Warren, the compromised card is closed permanently. We will also remove the merchant token attached to the account. You may continue the reimbursement claim, or you may pursue a documented private repayment. You should not accept payment twice.
I will hold the reimbursement request while they follow the agreement. If payments stop, I reopen it.
Marge placed the original $120 on the desk. Caleb counted it and wrote a receipt while we watched.
$40 a month from Marge. Daniel pays $60 each month after he starts working, and $10 until then.
$10 is grocery money in our house.
It was grocery money in mine, too.
Daniel left before Caleb finished making copies. Marge remained in the chair, folding and unfolding the strap of her purse.
I am sorry for more than the money. I knew exactly where you would be every Thursday.
That is the part I cannot put into a payment schedule.
After the first order, I felt sick all night. The next Thursday, it was easier. That frightened me, so I stopped thinking about it.
Why did you not come to the pantry and ask for a box?
Because you worked there. I could not bear for you to see me asking for food.
So you chose to let me see you as someone who stole from me.
I know shame does not make good decisions. It only makes quiet ones.
We walked into the parking lot together, but stopped beside different cars. For 32 years, we had always hugged before leaving.
I do not expect things to go back to the way they were.
They cannot. I do not know what they can become yet.
Marge nodded and opened her car door. Neither of us reached across the space between us. Her first money order arrived on the first Monday of the next month. The envelope contained $40 and no note. Daniel's $10 arrived 4 days late. He had written the amount in the corner and left the memo line empty. I kept every receipt in a blue folder. I had once trusted memory and friendship to keep track of such things. Now I wrote down each payment, the date it arrived, and the balance remaining. The neat columns steadied me. Marge called once near the end of February. I watched her name glow on my new phone before answering.
Daniel has an interview at the packaging plant. I told him he has 30 days to find work and another place to live.
That must have been difficult.
I kept thinking that saying no made me a bad mother. Then I looked at what saying yes had made me.
I did not tell her she had done the right thing. I had spent too many years handing out comfort before people finished facing themselves.
I miss talking to you.
I know.
After we hung up, I opened the drawer beside Marge's old chair. Her reading glasses were still where she had left them. In March, Marge added her name to the Wednesday volunteer schedule at the church pantry. She did not choose my Thursday shift. A spring storm closed the basement early one Wednesday, and her unfinished boxes were waiting when I arrived the next morning. She had labeled each one carefully and placed the heavier cans on the bottom, exactly the way I had taught her years before. Later that month, our shifts overlapped when another volunteer called in sick. Marge and I stood on opposite sides of the same table.
Daniel got the job, night shift. He and Noah moved into a small place near the bus line.
That will be good for Noah.
Marge reached for a can of peaches at the same time I did. I released it, and she placed it gently into the box. We worked for another hour, using only the words needed to finish the job. It was not forgiveness, but it was no longer war. Daniel came to my house on a rainy evening in April. He held a money order in one hand and his work badge in the other.
This is $60. I can pay that every month now.
I will write you a receipt.
I thought you would never miss it. You had a paid-off house and room on your card. That is what I told myself.
A paid-off house still needs heat, taxes, and a roof. More important, the person inside it still deserves to be asked.
I know that now.
I could not tell whether he fully understood or had simply run out of arguments. I accepted the payment, not the excuse. By summer, Marge had moved into a small senior apartment with lower rent and a humming air conditioner beneath the window. Her change of address card arrived with another money order. She had drawn a line through the space where a personal message might have gone. The payments continued through fall. Some arrived early, some late, but none were missed. We occasionally spoke at the pantry. We discussed canned vegetables, the weather, and whether Noah needed a larger winter coat. We did not discuss the old Sunday afternoons, Frank's funeral, or the years when neither of us knocked before entering the other's house. The first snow came on a Thursday in December. The pantry closed early, and I found myself driving past Greenway Market. I had not entered that store in years. I parked, walked inside, and bought oatmeal, apples, soup, tea, and a small box of cookies. At the register, I used my new card and waited until the cashier handed me the receipt. I folded it carefully into my wallet. Then I drove to Marge's apartment and carried the grocery bag through a hallway that smelled faintly of radiator heat and laundry soap. I placed the bag outside her door. On the receipt, I wrote only, "I bought these for you today." Ellie, I was halfway to the stairs when I heard her lock turn behind me. I kept walking, and she did not call my name. The final money order arrived 2 weeks later for $36.42. I placed it in the drawer beside her reading glasses. I did not cash it that day. Some things can be counted exactly, and some losses remain after the balance reaches zero.